you have a lot of repair work to do. Cardiac rehab, which is highly recommended, and I really think people who go through something like what I went through should do cardiac rehab, takes 3 months to get back to your strength and to psychologically know that you can do strenuous workouts and work the heart.
Yeah.
To your point about psychologically, like that just takes time to put back together. It might require a little work with therapy or in a
Yeah.
survivors group or whatever it is. It's hard to just snap back, believe me. As much as you'd like to, you've got to take care of yourself and take care of your body.
Welcome to All Can, No Can't, the podcast where we toss out excuses, face our fears, and reclaim control. I'm Jeff Luther, your guide to mastering the chaos and turning obstacles into opportunities. Whether you're an entrepreneur navigating the ups and the downs of building a successful business, or someone ready to rewrite the rules of your life, this is your space to grow, to push boundaries, and to embrace doing the hard shit that leads to greatness. Together, we'll explore stories of resilience, strategies for overcoming, and the mindset shifts that let you build a life on your terms. I use my experience with a life-altering diagnosis to help you find the can in every can't. So buckle up, because it's time to stop living in can't and start thriving in all can. You choose.
Welcome back to All Can, No Can't. This is the podcast for entrepreneurs, high achievers, and leaders who look successful on paper, but sometimes there's a little more inside of them. This is where we find the opportunities and the obstacles, where we talk about fear, about control, about what happens when life kind of punches us in the chest and then asks us who we are. Super excited about the conversation that I get to have today. And my next guest is AJ Jones. AJ is a two-time Widowmaker heart attack survivor. I am going to note here, heart attack is different than cardiac arrest. So we might get into that. He's a former financial services executive. He's the founder of More. It's a career wellness platform. It's intended to help accomplished professionals redefine success and live with greater alignment and purpose. Purpose being the key word. We're going to dive into that. After more than 20 years in high pressure corporate leadership, AJ walked away from the titles, the prestige, the traditional definition of success to build a life that feels as good on the inside as it looks on the outside. He now hosts his own podcast, Code 3 Life Reinvented, and helps high achievers shift from autopilot to alignment before life forces them to. So AJ has a coaching business. AJ, I'm really glad that you're here. Thank you so much for carving out the time.
Now, Jeff, it's wonderful to be here, and thank you for that intro and for this opportunity. And as you were doing your intro, what you said, life punches you in the chest. I was like, oh yeah, it has. And then you mentioned my two Widowmakers. So I appreciate that. I just want to make that connection. Yes, it does punch you in the chest, and I'm living proof. And yes, I had a heart attack, not cardiac arrest.
Yeah. So tell me, I've heard the term Widowmaker, and people always ask me about my heart attack. I'm like, oh, I didn't have a heart attack. I had cardiac arrest. Mine was cardiac death, actually. Nuances. Tell me about a Widowmaker, because I have heard that. Isn't it like that's some kind of major valve or something, right? That constricts.
Exactly. It's not a valve, it's an artery.
Ah,
Technically, and I am not just to be very clear, I am not a cardiologist or involved in the medical field whatsoever.
but you did
However,
sleep at a Holiday Inn last night, right?
but I did sleep at Holiday Inn. Huh, exactly. The Widowmaker is a common term for what happens to your left anterior descending artery, which carries the greatest amount of oxygenated blood into the heart. And what happens is when that artery becomes blocked or fully occluded, that triggers an event called the Widowmaker, where you effectively start entering into a heart attack situation, which could then ultimately lead to cardiac arrest and death.
Yeah.
It's called a Widowmaker it's aptly called, I should say, a Widowmaker, because the survivor rate is not terribly high. And so it has made a lot of widows and widowers, I should say. It's not just for men. But in any event, I'm grateful to be here. Those were a couple very close brushes with death. And
Yeah.
it's just incredible to have this next lease on life. Or I guess I'm on my third or fourth or fifth. I don't know what life I'm on anymore, but
Right.
I'm going through my 9 lives.
um, it's funny when you think heart attack, like at least me, and we're probably similar in age, within 10 years, I guess. When you hear the word heart attack, I always think male, like older male. And it's just as prominent in women as it is in men. Just an
Not only
aside.
that, not only that, it's it's like 1 out of 3 women who get heart attack die. I mean, it's the number one cause of death for women is the widowmaker. It is a
Oh,
one
wow.
third mortality rate or something like that. Yeah, it is. And with women, the symptoms don't present the same as men, and so I think it's harder to identify for women.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you hear, oh, well, speaking as a man and to a men audience in this particular example, typically I think that a heart attack is accompanied with tingling down the left arm, a pain in the chest. Uh, I can tell you with 100% certainty, the pain in the chest is very real.
Mm.
I did not get tingling so much down my left arm. The first one, I lost. I was mountain biking and lost going up an ascent where we used to live in Marin County, California, the birthplace of mountain biking. Some wonderful, wonderful trails, but you have to go uphill to get to the ridge trails and the fun stuff. I was going up an ascent, and that's when it set in, and I lost all the strength in my legs, and I became extraordinarily nauseous. I won't get into too many details. We can just imagine like major nausea situation.
Mm.
Eventually, my pinky and ring fingers did become tingly numb, and that was with number one. Number two, 8 years later, I was home alone. I just got back from the gym, and I had stepped in the shower. The moment I got shampoo in my hair, the pain in my chest returned. I knew right away, that it was that unwelcome and familiar and scary situation that was back. When I got out of the shower, my whole body tingled. Like it was the strangest sensation, and I could barely use my hands to use the phone to call 911 because everything felt so out of sorts and tingly. So that's how my two widowmakers presented themselves. And so it's just good to be really, really aware of what those symptoms are, to brush up on them, and to take them very seriously. To take them very seriously.
Yeah. And that second one, so I could kind of get where you were for the second one. The second time it happens is like 1,000 times worse because you're dying.
That is so true. And I'm
Yeah.
so glad you bring that up because the first one, I was mountain biking with 3 friends, right? And none of us knew what was going on. We just knew it wasn't good.
Yeah.
I thought I had acid reflux or indigestion because the night before, my daughter and I had gone out to sushi at our local sushi place in our former hometown. So the whole time that this was happening, I was attributing the pain in my chest and my nausea to the fact that I had nigiri with a side of bacteria or something.
Bad fish.
This bad fish.
Yeah.
I didn't know I had a heart attack with the first one until they told me in the emergency room. The second one, because I recognized the symptoms,
Yeah.
that was scary AF because I'm
Yeah.
thinking, okay, I'm on the clock and every minute counts.
It's so horrible.
Yeah.
It's so horrible. Yeah, and I explain it to people. It's like, wow, I knew I would like chocolate chip cookies because of how they smell. It's not that kind of knowing. It's you know that you are dying. It's like the
Correct.
act of dying. It's so messed up.
You got it. Yeah.
So was it after the second heart attack that you made your pivot?
Actually, uh, kind of. When it really started going back to 2016 with the first one, I was working in San Francisco in the financial district, and that weekend was October the 8th, 2016, when I had the heart attack. Ultimately, I was put on leave for 4 months, and when I asked the universe during that time, what do I do with this precious chance of of a second chance, quite frankly. And what's the playbook here? How does this all work? Do I just go back to that old 3 hour daily commute and get into that role that has a fair amount of stress and responsibility? Or is there another path for me? Do I become a stay-at-home dad? Our kids were in middle school at the time. Do I become a teacher and give back to the greater good? And I asked the universe, begged the universe to give me some sort of sign or direction. And what came was life-changing. Whatever one's belief system is, it was like a lightning bolt to my soul, a voice of God moment, whatever it is. It told me, use your story to help and inspire others. And frankly, I didn't know what that meant, but I knew I was signing up for it. I saluted that mission assignment and said, this is it. This makes a ton of sense to me, and I'm going to do this to the best of my ability. I don't know what it means, and I don't know why anyone would care about my story, but I'm in. And so then I went back to work and lasted about 5 months and resigned without much of a plan. I got picked up by a firm in wealth management, and they knew my situation, and they said, "Hey, AJ, we'd love to have you on the team. Let's give you a year here. You can get set up and take care of your health, and we could use your help with some strategy stuff." I'm like, great.
What do you mean they knew your situation? What was your situation?
Well, I just had a heart attack, right? And so yeah, so the guy who ran the firm is a dear friend of mine, close friend, and he gave me a great opportunity to just land and get settled, and I didn't have to commute into the city. And it was during that time that I started to dabble with this new life mission,
Yeah.
blogging anonymously because I was in a highly regulated industry. So I just thought I'd put things out under a nom de plume, as one would say. And with time, I got more courage and more confidence about what I was saying, and I was talking about heart disease prevention and awareness. I'm an adoptee. As a result of that heart attack, I went and found my biological family, and that has been an extraordinarily rewarding situation. And that reunion has been phenomenal for me. And I know they don't always go well for other people, but I'm very lucky in that regard. So I was putting my experience out to the universe to help others who are going through adoption reunion or dealing with a genetic surprise in the family. And while I was doing those things, what I was finding out, and I didn't articulate it at the time, and we're in the 2017, 2018, 2019 timeframe, was this notion of finding your truth and
Hmm.
living the truth to who you are. And life is precious, and just own your truth, find it, own it, and honor it. Ultimately, to answer your question in a roundabout way, which I have done, but I wanted to give you that context. So I left the world of financial services in 2013. In January of 2024, I started a company called More, which you alluded to earlier. And the idea here is we wanted to help Gen Xers. We're targeting Gen X people who want to get more out of life. And we would do that through creating a really highly engaged community, offer career coaching services, and start to build out a retreat portfolio that would be in really cool places around the globe, because I like retreats and I really like going to cool places. So that made sense to me. We launched that in January 2024. April 13th of 2024, so basically 3 months later, is when I had my second heart attack. So I'd already made the pivot. And during that time, from number one to number two, I changed my diet. I gave up drinking. I thought I was towing the line. All my medical results, my lipid panels, blood work, echo stress tests, all were phenomenal given my age and where I'm at in life. So I thought I was doing all the things right. And then I had number two. And that was a big emotional leg sweep, um, or a high-low tackle. Someone takes you in the
Hey,
legs and hits you at the chest.
if I don't stop you here, I'm not going to have any questions to ask you. So
I
let's
hear
slow
you.
down.
Yeah.
All right, so I want to back up a little bit. When I'd asked earlier about about what your situation was, what is the I guess the recovery time when you have a widowmaker? Because they asked you to take 4 months off, and then you went back and you were there for a few months and then resigned. So it was like nine months, and then you were picked up by another company and they gave you a year to kind of get your feet wet. What's
Mhm.
the recovery time like?
Hmm. That's a really good question.
Not
So
mentally,
when
because that's probably forever.
that's forever. That's
Yeah,
the thing, right? Like you're Humpty Dumpty and you're putting yourself back together again.
yeah.
I believe, with no science, just my own lived experience, that you need a good 3 months. This is what I think.
Yeah.
This is purely my opinion, not based on any sort of medical research,
Well,
but
it's
just
based
what
on
I've been
experience,
through.
which is about as good as it
It's
gets.
exactly. What I have read is that people will go back to work in their old lives after around 40 days, which to me is just shocking
Yeah.
because you have a lot of repair work to do. Cardiac rehab, which is highly recommended, and I really think people who go through something like what I went through should do cardiac rehab, takes 3 months to get back to your strength and to psychologically know that you can do strenuous workouts and work the heart.
Yeah.
To your point about psychologically, like that just takes time to put back together. It might require a little work with therapy or in a
Yeah.
survivors group or whatever it is. It doesn't, it's hard to just snap back, believe me. As much as you'd like to, you've got to take care of yourself and take care of your body. So yeah, I would say 3 months
Okay.
all
Yeah,
told.
and as far as the psychological piece, in my experience, there's nothing you can do. It's just time. The more time you put between you and the incident or event or whatever you want to call it, the
You
better you
got
are.
it.
But it's just time. Okay, so before the first heart attack, if you can get in that place, how would you have defined success? Like, what did it
Yeah.
look like? What did it feel like?
hmm Yeah. Success to me took a couple forms. One was professionally, success was climbing a ladder and getting as far up the I never had a dream or desire to be a CEO of a Fortune 500 firm. That wasn't has never been my goal. But my version of success was a really nice paying job that was high up in an organization that felt comfortable, but it wasn't going to cost me to my life, so to speak. Nearly did, in fact. Um, but that was success number one. Success number two was my commitment, my family and raising my kids and being present. And so I made a real effort to be home for dinner. I was out the door before the family stirred, or early, before the sun was up, and a lot of times, but came home for dinner, even though I might have had to push dinner back because I was running late. But that was really important to be present for my kids and to be a husband to my wife. So I think those were two big ways that I defined success before number one.
Okay. So now we've survived not only one, but two, and not just your standard heart attack, but major heart attack, um, because of the significance, the artery. Did that definition then change? As you know, I've been coaching for a little over a year now, and my coach just laid something pretty heavy on me. They've challenged me to have 50 powerful coaching conversations booked within the next 30 days. So if you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, maybe successful but unfulfilled, or you just need to talk something through with someone that you know will listen, then I would love to have that conversation with you. This is not a tactic. There's no sales pitch. It's just one powerful conversation. This is complimentary to you. So if you want in, send me a message and I'll send you the link. I got you.
Yeah. So when I launched more 3 months before my second one, I'd been out of the first one was about 7 years in my rearview mirror, more or less.
Okay.
And I was just thinking that I've got it under control. I'm one and done. I own it. It's part of who I am, but I've got this figured out and I can move forward. I can do this startup and I can make a difference. When number two hit, you might imagine everything changed. And my definition of success was just being here. Um, And I had to really rethink how I wanted to build more with boundaries around what I do and being very responsible to my health. So now my definition of success is defined by, again, a couple things. Number one, how I build more and the impact we can have for those members or clients that work with us. My ROI is return on impact. Number two, I define success by hopefully being a role model for those who've been significantly challenged by health events. That no matter you can get knocked down once, you get back up. You get knocked down twice, you
Yeah.
get up, and you keep going, and you keep building the life you want to live. You don't surrender. You don't give up. you keep pursuing your dreams. You may have to modify those dreams a little bit or how you get there, but I still hope that I can model that. And then thirdly, continue to be a good dad to my kids who are now in their early 20s and a good husband to my wife.
Nice. When the second heart attack came, um, you had already started the business. Did it, I don't know how to ask this question. Like I'm coming to you from experience. Did you have instant clarity, or did it take you time to kind of untangle who you thought you were? Because you thought you were this guy that just had a one and done, right? Did you
Hmm.
have instant clarity, or did it take you time to untangle who you thought you were from now, like maybe who you
Yeah.
wanted to be or what you wanted to be? Is-
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It took
Okay.
time.
Okay.
Definitely door number two there. I, quite frankly, that first week I was home from the hospital after number two, uh, I talked to a therapist 3 times in that first week.
Yeah.
Two of those times I was really emotional and crying, and I was really wrestling with, I don't want to say victimhood, but why me? Why
Yeah.
again? I'm doing
I did
everything
everything
right.
I was supposed to do.
I did
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Yep.
I changed my career to follow my passion and to help others. I gave up, a certain diet to eat a certain way. I gave up drinking. I did it. I work out all the time. Like what more? So that was hard to piece together and get
Yeah.
my, as they say, get my head around, get my heart around. Like, okay, what does this mean? Am I to and through now? If one and done didn't work, can I be to and through?
Yeah.
But my reality was very clear. In fact, quite honestly, during one of those therapy sessions I just mentioned, the therapist asked me, close your eyes and just what do you envision? Just what comes to your mind. Don't filter, don't judge, just what comes. And he said, when you're ready, tell me. And it was really very, very, very clear to me that I need to continue this mission. And I honestly, the image I had in my mind was standing on a stage talking to others about what we're talking about on this podcast today about surviving and moving forward and living the life you want, um, and not the life that others expect. So that was clear to me that I need to do this. And I'll put a bow on it this way, Jeff. My cardiologist after number two, um, told me more than once that I should retire. I was, what was I, 54 years old with
Oh
number
wow.
two. And he said, we've seen you've got a couple of these. We got a fact pattern. I think it's time that you start, enjoying life and taking care of your health. And I
What?
asked him, yeah, I'm like, well, okay. So I asked him and I said, well, uh, is this a conversation about getting my affairs in order that you're sort of gently walking into, or what's going on here? Retire. I'm young. I've got this company I love. He goes, no, it's just time to take care of your health. And all I could think of is I've got unfinished business. I gotta continue with more. I just have to reimagine how I do it and who I lean on to get to where I want to go. Um, so yeah, that's kind of how the second one played out.
Um, I have two questions from that. What was the fact pattern? He said we have this fact pattern and you should retire. Was he implying that these were stress related?
Exactly. So I mean, I don't take a lot of comfort in knowing this, but he said we're, you're diagnosed with unstable arterial plaque, and this plaque could break and cause problems and cause blood to coagulate it and start another blockage at any time. This is what I live with. So this is my disability. So I have to do as much as I can through all elements of my life to manage that situation. That involves nutrition. That involves stress management. That involves my relationships. It involves how I work, when I work, and how hard I work. So everything has to be re-engineered, because this is the silent killer that's within me, at least.
Yeah. Wow. And I suspect there's medication that you take.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Which I've feel your hesitation there. Like I'm in that boat too, struggling with, okay, now I'm taking medication for the rest of my life. Do I want to start this? Do I not? So yeah, I get that. Um, okay, well, so I have a question for you, and then I have a tougher question. So I'm preparing you. How about that?
Okay, I'm
Um,
ready. Let's go.
so let's go to the place before. Let's go back to your place before the heart attacks. Can you remember? And you talk a lot, like in more in your program, you talk about fulfillment and times when sometimes we feel like we're just unfulfilled, but we're still hitting all the markers. Can you remember a specific goal, something you worked really hard to hit in your former life? You achieved it and you still felt empty. Do you remember that feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good question. The reality is, at least how I experienced it, and this is we're talking about before number one. And
Yeah.
number one happened 2 days before my 47th birthday. Um, I honestly, it was just how do I make more money and keep this job and get promoted? I think is how I broke it down.
Yeah.
Um, literally, just as long as I have a place to go to work and I can make money and put bread on the table and put some things, put money into the retirement account and keep stacking there, like that to me was what was important.
Yeah.
But I was just running around doing that in that, the old hamster wheel. Like that
Yeah.
was it.
Yeah. So does this sound familiar then? Let me ask it this way, since we kind of scratched the surface, we'll probably got a little bit deeper than surface. But okay, you wanted to climb the corporate ladder, you wanted the promotion to earn more. Was it okay, once I have $100, then I'll feel fulfilled. And then you hit $100. Well, once I have 200, then I'll feel it. Then that feeling will come. Then I'll have made it. And then you get to the 200 and you're like, well, shit, I keep looking for this feeling, but it's not coming. Was there some of that? Does that resonate with you?
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's a great little story that I'll share here. Um, a little boy went to Central Park and he sat down on a bench. It turns out he was sitting next to Mr. Rockefeller. And he looked up at Mr. Rockefeller and said, Mr. Rockefeller, what is the right amount of money to make? Mr. Rockefeller looked down at the boy and said, just a little bit more, just a little bit more. And with that in mind, I think that I apply that to what you just said. Like it always felt like just a bit more. Well, yeah, so I got a raise of X percent, whatever it is. Let's call it 5%. I have no idea. Okay, great. Well, what's next year going to look like? Okay, so if it's like if I get another 5% raise and I do the numbers, like, oh, this is what my take home will be. Cool. Then what?
Yeah.
And it was just always the then what, as opposed to I'm here and it's okay. And I think that was been a massive mental shift for me,
Yeah.
going through all this.
Yeah, so now the tough question, and hey, look, I wouldn't be able to ask you these questions if I didn't see it in myself. So I'll
Mhm.
immediately say that. Um, so the doctor says, or your cardiologist says, hey, it's kind of time for you to retire, and you're like, well, I've got unfinished business with this thing I'm doing. But isn't that the high achiever? It's always unfinished business. It's always more. It's always next.
Mhm. Mhm.
Does a piece of that kind of hit home and you're like, maybe. Like
Mhm.
what is enough? When is it enough?
Hmm. That is a very philosophical question,
Yeah,
right?
and
Because why? Why?
if you answer it, I'll feel so good about myself.
You know, there's studies that have been done, and I think they probably need to be updated with today's environment. That if you make $70,000, you've got everything covered, and you should be happy. But we know for a great many of us that $70,000 is our starting point, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Like, let's jump off of that and keep jumping up.
yeah,
I don't know. I'll tell you what. Um, so we were talking before we started recording. We're both located in the Southeast. I'm a native Californian, and I thought I would never, ever leave. We lived in Marin County, which is just over the Golden Gate Bridge from San Francisco. And I'll be honest, it's a beautiful place, absolutely beautiful. And I swore I would never leave. But after my second heart attack, right, I just started more, and I recognized in my mind and my heart that I had unfinished business, and I truly felt and feel that way. But I would take myself on my daily morning walk, which I would do at a good pace for about 3 1/3 miles every morning. And I would ask myself, what do I really need? What
Mm,
do I really need? And I did that day after day, and it really brought clarity. It wasn't just a one off, and I thought about it for 10 seconds and then thought about something else. I spent time with it. What do I really need? What do I really want to put myself through? And is it worth it? And going through that exercise, it really clarified I've got an amazing life partner. That is amazing. Um, we can re engineer our lives and think a little bit differently about how we do things so we can take pressure off ourselves. Do we need to keep living in this same zip code that costs a ton of money to be there? Or if we leave and leave all of our friends and our community and everything that we know and hold dear to go someplace else, which is for us in this particular instance, we moved out to coastal North Carolina in May of last year, but it changed our whole expense situation,
oh,
and the
probably
cost of living
drastically.
is drastically.
Yeah.
And yeah, we gave up a lot, but I think we gained a ton too, and it has completely helped me taking the pressure off financially that I can be, and my wife, both of us can be more in a space of being
Yeah.
instead of operating as a human deliverable machine. And that has been changing. So I've realized that I don't know that I need to hold my identity doesn't need to hold on to a fancy zip code in a fancy part of the world and blah blah blah. But it's actually just being happy and being okay with what I have. Because when you boil it down and you do that, what do I really need? Exercise and just spend time with it. A lot of the stuff we think we need, need it. It's nice, but do you really need it? That was helpful for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of times, like the house, we don't want the big house. We don't want the nice neighborhood. We want the feeling we think it's going to give us.
Yeah,
We don't want the fancy car. We want the feeling we think it's going to give
it's the
us.
feeling.
Yeah.
And how long does that feeling last? Hmm.
I- Until you buy the house, like, because
Right.
that feeling is you're remembering future.
Yeah,
You're remembering a future that hasn't happened.
that's right.
Um, all right, so you talk about shifting from autopilot to alignment. I know it's one of the things that you help your clients with.
Mhm.
Um, and I get it. I get that. In hindsight, though, how does someone know they're on autopilot until, because for me, like I was on autopilot, but I was, oh, well, gee, back then I was on autopilot. I never would have known it then. Like, how do you spot it when you're in it? Do you even know that answer? Like, how do you know?
Yeah, how do you know when you're on autopilot? It's hard to know because everything's just humming along and
Yeah,
you're checking all the boxes, right? If you're
yeah,
on for all intents and purposes, you're on autopilot, you're checking the boxes because nothing's blowing up, so you just keep cruising along. But I think there comes at some point a waking up moment. Sounds like you've had it, I've had it, and you realize, this isn't working. I am doing very well, but inside, I call this numb success. When on the outside it looks amazing. Man, Jeff, he's crushing. He's checking all the boxes. He's got a great job, lives in a beautiful house, a nice neighborhood, blah 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 blah. But inside, we don't know this, but you might be like, this status quo sucks. Like,
yeah,
I don't feel like I'm living anymore. I don't feel like I'm engaged. My time is slipping through my fingers, and I'm going to blink and I'm going to be something, whatever, 70 something years old, and my body won't be in the same shape and be able to do the things I can do now. And why did I
yeah.
waste all this time? And I got all these regrets stacked up on all these things, right? And I don't mean to be doomsday, but it's a great question. Like, how do you recognize it? And I think it's a very inward and introspective thing. And if you are looking at your life and you are feeling hollow, if you are feeling that the success that is being experienced on the outside and extrinsically rewarding, but the inside is not there, it's not matching, I think it's time to have a think about what you're doing. And is this truly what you should be doing now?
Yeah, just going through the motions, which, then so we can shift to purpose, like you talk about purpose. But that to me, just going through the motions, that's where that fulfillment lacks. Like with you in your job, all right. Like, when you started that job, let's say you started that job way back when you were in your 20s and you were making like 36 grand, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm making 36 grand, but man, one day I'm going to make 40. I'll be
I
making
know.
40 grand. And
Yeah,
now, like, imagine what you earned at the end of that career or that tenure, and it's just never enough. It's just never enough.
never know.
I call that the hedonic treadmill, where it's just
I
over
like that.
and over and
Yeah,
over. Um,
yeah, I like that expression. That's great.
but you talk about purpose, and I think that's one of the things that you
Hmm.
focus on in your program more. Um, does d and I know from experience that waking up every day without purpose, that is a dangerous, dangerous place for a human to be in, for sure.
Absolutely.
Um, what does purpose actually mean to you now? And I know
Hmm.
that's a big question, but if you could
It's a
boil it
really big
down,
question. Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
mission, a feeling, a direction. I'm trying to be helpful because that's a huge question.
It's such a huge question. What is purpose? And if you don't have it, how do you get there?
Yeah.
Um, and I think it is a massively hard question. And I'll answer it in a couple different ways. The first way that I think about it, and we talk about this in more in our platform, and is this Japanese notion called Ikigai.
Yeah.
And Ikigai, for lack of a better way to say it, is effectively the reason for being in many ways. And it pulls in four different elements into a four circle Venn diagram. What are you good at? What do you like to do? What does the world need? And what can you get paid for? And you put those four things into overlapping a circle, and that center piece in the Venn diagram is your Ikigai or your reason. Um, and so I think in many ways that's a good starting point. The other way I look at this too is if you don't know what where to start with purpose, one of the easiest things that I recommend to do is go be in service of others
Hmm.
in whatever capacity that shows up for you. I'm talking beyond your family. I'm talking about people you don't know. Um, as simple as the simplest of simple things is today, make a plan to make someone's day, in whatever form that looks like. Just try it. Just go do something special for someone that doesn't expect it. Someone you know, someone you don't. Try it. Buy the lunch for the older person eating alone that day. Buy the coffee for the person behind you in line. Whatever it is, try it and see how it makes you feel. And I would posit that it will be a rewarding feeling. And then you try that again and
Yeah.
again, and see where that leads you. But it is a powerfully big question, and a lot of smart people have been trying to answer that.
Yeah.
But those are a couple of ways that I think about it.
And I think so. So purpose it's really hard. Um, that's why I think that high achievers struggle with purpose.
Hmm.
Even when they have everything, they have so a lot of high achievers, like in my circle, entrepreneur circle. Now, you in your circle, you're probably coaching a lot of leaders, a lot of entrepreneurs, founders. You get everything that you once wanted, things you have now that you used to pray for, and it still isn't enough.
Of course. Hmm.
Which, and maybe that's what it boils down to. With you got to be happy with yourself, right? Be happy with yourself
Yeah.
first, because these other things are not going to bring you happiness.
It's
Um,
all extrinsic. It's all
yeah.
extrinsic. It's not intrinsic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost like you and I need to be smoking a joint, sitting around a fire, having this conversation, right? Because it's just so far out there.
Yeah, I love it. I love that picture in my mind. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, you can go deep on this stuff.
Yeah.
There 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 is no doubt, and I don't know how you feel about this stuff, Jeff, but when I see people, observe people like you just described, high achievers and very good at what they do and have lucrative compensation plans and never want for anything and take fancy vacations and live in nice houses and all the things, I can almost sense, I don't know about you, and I call this a survivor superpower I have, when someone is not connected with themselves. Like there's something in their nervous system that I pick up and I just want to like shake them. If I could grab them by the lapels and be like, come on, like snap out of this.
Yeah.
Like you've got everything you need. Like, why are you still running around traveling the world on these business meetings and killing yourself, quite literally killing yourself to do all this to make a little bit more?
Yeah.
You have enough. You have
Yeah.
enough.
And you
Do the
always,
math.
I know exactly what you're talking about. And you always wonder, like my question always is when I don't know if that's what energy is, because that's a new term that people throw around the last few
Hmm.
years. I don't know if that's their energy, but I see that. And my question is always, are you running to or are you running from? Which is it?
Hmm.
I wonder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I want to ask you about starting over. I want to kind of
Mm.
pull on that thread. Um, when I went through, whatever people call it the dark night of the soul or whatever that is. When I was in my depths, I was like, oh my gosh, now I'm starting over, and I was 47, I think, 48.
Mhm.
And one day I was like, wait a second. I mean, I'm not starting over. What if this is just part of the journey? So you
Yeah.
talk about that, like that's part of your platform too. I think the courage to start over, but is it really starting over? Like, is it just part of the journey? And how do you
Yeah.
delineate between the two?
Hmm. Hmm. I don't know that in this context, as you got me thinking about it, it's almost like not so much starting over, but it's like, um, I don't want to say rebirth. That's not what I'm looking for. But it's like you've broken into a new chapter in your life, and
Yeah,
maybe this is not quite the starting over. Maybe it's actually just part of this a stop along your journey. But the reality is, whatever it is, it will most likely equate to a phenomenal period of growth for you
yeah, yeah.
that you did not expect. You were on autopilot, you were crushing it, you were doing your thing, whatever that thing was, or whatever your career was. And I was struggling with being on autopilot for a while. This is after my first heart attack and just thinking about life and am I growing anymore? Is this it? And if this is it, am I happy with this? Mm-mm, I'm
Yeah,
not. I want to grow some more. And to do that, I've got to make changes, which will lead to some of the things I talked about earlier today.
yeah.
But I want to get back to growing because I think that's really cool and challenging myself and learning new things and meeting new people. Like to me, that is exhilarating.
Oh yeah,
Um, and to try something new because we only have, and it sounds like you and I can say this, right? Like we only have one lap around the track, and we do not know when our lap. It may not even be a full lap. For many of
right.
us, our lap might end pretty early, and it's unfortunate, but that's the reality. So, if there's something out there that you're feeling, you're sensing it, you're being called to, and you're squashing it because it's scary, or you want to dismiss it because you're on your path and it's just amazing, and you're racing up that ladder. I don't know. I think this is time when you stop and you listen. Like, why is this coming up? And what could this mean for me if I do whatever this thing is?
Yeah,
How could this change my life?
yeah. So
I'm
so back to like courage or starting over. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to start over this age. But now I look back, like in those depths, there was a point in my not too recent history where I woke up every day, and the best 2 seconds of my day was when I first woke up because I forgot what my
hmm
reality was. And then reality would
hmm
would hit me, and I was like, oh, so that this is my life right now. But I'm so grateful for that pain, and I never want to forget it because it reminds me every day how good my life is.
Hmm.
So I guess from that perspective, I'm like, oh man, I don't want to start over because I want all those painful lessons. I want to remember what they're like. So that's part of
Hmm.
that to me as well. So
Yeah, and I don't know. I would say starting over, it's almost dismissive or has just this negative tone, just in some ways. Certainly in the way we're discussing it here today. You are starting from an amazing place of experience, right?
yeah,
You are wherever that is in your journey. It's not starting over. You've done something from when you started to where you are today.
yeah,
There's a lot there. And now you get to use those skills and that network you've built and your knowledge and wisdom and do this thing that's new.
yeah. It's funny because I mean, it's both. I mean, it's both. It's you're starting over, but you can't claim to be starting over because you have all this wisdom and everything you've picked up, all the lessons. So I don't know. That is an
Yeah.
interesting topic. I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
so tell me this: where can people find you? Where's a good place? I mean, the more program. Tell us about that.
Hmm.
Where would people go if they want to learn more about that?
Yeah, thank you for asking. So, um, the business is called More, and I call it More almost ironically, thinking of this entire conversation we've had here today. It's not an acronym for anything. It's actually a play on this whole situation. It's not more things, more money, more promotions, more than the materialistic success marker standpoint. It's about more meaning, more joy, more fulfillment, more alignment, more fun. So that's why we call it More. You can find me at bemorealigned.com. Uh, and we really are focusing on helping high achievers move from this sense of numb success. I'm checking the boxes, but success on the outside doesn't feel like success on the inside anymore. So if you have numb success, we want to help you get to this way of aligned living. And alignment is when your authentic truth, your actions, and ambitions are in concert, not conflict. And that's really the core of our curriculum and our purpose now.
Awesome. All right, so I have one last tough question for you, and
Shoot.
it doesn't have to be long. Have you thought about this? If your heart hadn't really forced you to stop or think or reflect or whatever, what do you think you'd still be doing? Do you think you ever would have? Would you still be chasing that thing that we still don't know what it is?
I think so. Oh, for sure. I don't know what my awakening, maybe there would be another awakening where I'd really be forced to pause and rethink life and what I'm doing and engaging with everything. But I'm pretty confident I'd probably still be doing, without any awakening moment, I would still be doing what I was doing, I'm sure.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for being so, I'm gonna say vulnerable. Like you didn't bat an eye when I asked you some pretty hard questions. So thank you for that. Um,
Oh, this has been a great conversation, Jeff. I love these sorts of things. And it's been a real treat, actually, to
yeah,
chat with you today.
it's been fun. And to the listeners, if this conversation stirred something in you, it's not random. Like now you're aware. That's one of the things that they teach in the more program. If you're succeeding on paper but you feel misaligned in your gut, don't ignore it. I've been there. Adrian's been there. It doesn't end well. You don't need a heart attack to get permission to live differently. And sometimes as high achievers, we struggle with that, with permission. If you want to learn more about AJ and the work that he's doing through More, you can visit morecareerwellness.com. Explore his resources, workshops, tools to redefine success on your terms. If this episode landed for you, you can do three things or one or two of the three. Share it with a high achiever who you know needs to hear it. Leave a review so more people find this message. And most importantly, take one small action, something that aligns with you and who you actually want to be. That's the most important thing. Take one action this week, something that Adrian talked about. Action is the success. The goal is not the success. It's the pursuit that's the success. This is All Can, No Can't. I'm your host, Jeff Luther, and I will be looking forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for spending time with us.
Thanks for listening to All Can, No Can't. If today's episode resonated with you, remember it's not about the chaos you face. It's about how you choose to take back control. It's about finding that one small can in the can't you're given and grinding it down. Find your angle, carve your place out in the world, and get the fucking win. Do that by finding what you can do and not listening to what you can't. You choose. Be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Your support helps me reach more people that are ready to embrace the all-can mindset. And it lets them know there's someone that's willing to walk with them no matter how dark the path gets. You can find me on Insta at JDLuther 2.0 and allcan_no-can't. This is where I share more tips, stories, inspiration to help fuel your journey. And until next time, keep pushing boundaries, breaking limits, proving to yourself that anything is possible, even when you're told it isn't. Remember, life's not about can't. It's all can. Go prove them wrong.